Today, President-elect, that is, Barack Obama will introduce Hillary Clinton as his choice for Secretary of State in Chicago, along with his choice to keep on Defense Secretary Robert Gates. Is Obama setting himself up for trouble with a team of rivals, or is this a good thing? Joining us, the pundit pit, John Avlon, columnist, TheDailyBeast.com, and author, Independent Nation. Kerry Kennedy, international human rights activist. Amity Schlaze, columnist, Bloomberg News, and author of The Forgotten Man, A New History of the Great Depression. Joel Mowbray, syndicated columnist. Good to have all of you here today. All right, so finally the news that we've all been waiting for. We're going to see Hillary Clinton come out and be announced as Obama's pick for Secretary of State. John, I'm going to start with you on whether or not you think this whole rivalry is going to be a good thing. I'm looking back in history and seeing that the last time this happened was 1881.
Yeah, this team of rivals approach, I think, is a sign of strength, a sign of confidence for Barack Obama. What's more important to many of us is that this is a decidedly centrist cabinet he's putting together. Well, along with keeping Secretary Gates and appointing General Jones as NSA, that is a big deal. It should be a reassuring sign for reasonable Republicans and across the political spectrum.
Kerry, apparently Mrs. Clinton turned down being the head of the Appropriations Committee. When you look at those two jobs, that or Secretary of State, was there even a decision for her here?
Absolutely. You know, the economy is very important to us as a nation at the moment, and that's very, very important to Hillary Clinton. But she'll be a great Secretary of State. She's particularly concerned about women's work around the world, and she knows that in order to create real revolutionary change, you have to empower women, and that's what I think we can expect from her.
Somebody in your family who supported Barack Obama, Caroline Kennedy, apparently she could take over Hillary's Senate seat in New York. What can you tell us about that?
Well, there's a lot, actually, in my family. There's a lot of discussion. My brother Bobby, of course, is being looked at as a possible replacement, and my former husband, Andrew Cuomo.
Exactly. All right, Amity, I want to ask you the question about Bill Clinton, because how is he going to factor into this? Apparently, you know, a lot of late-night discussions about the fact that he's going to release 208,000 names now of his donors. They didn't do that during the campaign, but now they will.
Oh, I would say it would behoove the Republicans watching this to leave that one alone and move on. It's not a great preoccupation for the Republicans to look to the past like that. We have serious work to do, these Republicans, in other areas such as the economy.
Interesting point. Joel, you wrote a column today talking about how Obama should thank conservatives. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's at foxnews.com, and basically conservatives provided the margin of victory for Barack Obama in the election. He needs to consider this as he's making his cabinet selections, as he's putting together an auto bailout package, financial industry things. He got 20% of the conservative vote. People think there was this high turnout from liberals and from the youth vote. Those only increased 1% each. The same percentage of the electorate was conservative in 2008 as in 2004, and the basic belief systems, when they asked the ideological questions such as the role of government, people pretty much were the same. The country's just as center-right as it was. They only changed parties, not beliefs.
Very interesting point. And we're going to be talking about the economy right when we come back. More with the Pit in just 2 minutes. Right back.
To ask you to raise your hand if you're planning to sell your jet in place now and fly back commercial. Let the record show no hands went up. I don't know how I go back to my constituents and say the auto industry has changed.
That's called being punked. It looks like the CEOs of the big three auto companies who drove Detroit to the brink of bankruptcy, a lot of people think, are not willing to give up their lavish salaries. So what are they willing to cut? They're going back to Congress now to present the revised plan this week. We're back with the pundit pit. And John, I'm wondering, are they going to drive this time or maybe fly commercial?
I think they should carpool. But you know, this whole question of an auto bailout is very interesting, because if it is done, it needs to be done with serious concessions that force the industry to modernize, that allow them to take advantage of next-generation technology, and get them out of something other than the pension obligation delivery business. The unions need to give a great deal to keep the American auto companies competitive in the future, and that's what's needed to stop just throwing more money good after bad.
But Joel, here's the thing. The unions say, look, if you take a look at the new contracts that we already settled on, we did give a lot back. You're rolling your eyes.
Well, you know, do they have job banks where you have 500,000 people who sit around and they earn 98% of their income? They get full benefits, and they go to a room where they just sit around, they play cards, they fill out crossword puzzles, they kibitz over water cooler chat, and they get paid 98% of their full salary. This is built into the UAW contract. You cannot have a sustainable, viable industry if you do that. Everybody needs to give here. I mean, the unions have to give on the pensions. the CEOs, raise your darn hand.
Yeah.
At that question, pay $1,500, get a beautiful first-class seat. They're not that bad to fly on, and score some political points.
Well, after that, GM did announce they were selling part of their fleet of jets. I think they finally got the message. But Carrie, you are in favor of this bailout, but you even agree that there has to be some details here so that it's not just a handout for nothing.
Well, I think, you know, the federal government is giving $700 billion to Wall Street. We can certainly give $35 billion to Main Street and to these people who have worked so hard all their lives. And, you know, we did this 30 years ago, and it worked. And we've kept that business, Chrysler, alive for all of these years, and we need to do it again.
Amity, you don't agree?
No, I think the only way to make it at all good is to make this the last time, and it's very fortunate now, oddly, that we're talking about many billions or even trillions, because this is time to buy out those jobs. That's what the nation needs. We've also tried that with farmers. You don't want them coming back in 2 years. That's not where the growth is going to be in the country. So we want to be humane, but we also want to end it. Last time.
Carrie, I want to give you a chance to talk about an auction that's going on right now.
This is www.rfkcenter.org, and go online. You can get a 30-minute voice lesson with Aretha Franklin, or an audition with Clive Davis, who's the heart and soul behind American Idol. Go to a movie with Alec Baldwin, and dinner with Matt Dillon, and a lot of fun things.
And while we wrap up this pundit pit, Carrie, we'll maybe be calling you back to see which member of your family is taking over that Senate seat in New York for Hillary Clinton, because it's probably going to be one member of your family.